Hey, Kevin here, Mr. DIY Dork from DIYDork.com. Today I want to show you a really cool Target table transformation where I turn a cheap kind of dorm style side table that I got in the clearance section at Target for $4.48 to a really cool reclaimed wood coffee table. So check this out, I know you're going to like it. All right, so here's what I'm starting with. These were out a little while ago, probably this past school season. They had a lot of like dormitory style furniture out. And I don't think they were very expensive. The price tag here says it was $14.99. And I actually got this a couple months ago and I was trying to decide what to do with it, and I finally come up with a cool project. I bought it for, I don't think it's going to show, but I bought it for $4.48. So I actually bought the store out of all of them because I knew I could turn it into something really cool. So what I'm going to do is transform it, like I said, to a really cool coffee table using wood from a really gross bathroom that we tore out when we were doing our house. Let me show you a picture of how nasty that was. Okay. That bathroom totally looked like a murder scene. It was really creepy, so we tore everything out and totally redid it. But the floorboards were, as gross as they looked, they were still totally reusable, and I knew I was going to use them for a project like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to repurpose the legs, use them as is basically, and we're actually going to chop the top up so that we can, because the legs attach to the top, so we're going to use those as supports, and then the wood slats from the bathroom floor are going to become like a slatted top. So pretty simple project overall, but it's just going to totally transform this cheap, less than $5 table into something really chic. And I have 3 of these left, and I'm going to flip them all on Craigslist and try to sell them for about 50 bucks or so. You know, pretty cheap, but you know, cool little project, make some extra money on it. So anyway, follow along as I show you how I do this. All right, so now what I'm doing, you can see my little setup here. I got a couple of brooms hanging across the railing over my basement stairs. So I chained up the legs, and you can see they're in the hot neon yellow, and I'm just going to put a little white primer on there just to cover them up, and then I'm actually going to paint them. Now I have 3 sets. I've already done one in a metallic silver, and I'm going to do one in like a gloss deep gray and another one in a gloss white, just so they all have a little different look, while the tops will pretty much be the same. So I'll prime these and paint them, and I'll show you what they look like done. This is real simple right here. Alright, so I just finished applying the dark gray paint after I did the white primer to this set of legs. And then my other set of legs I have over there, they have the gloss white that's drying. So now the legs are pretty much finished. I'm going to let them dry, and then they just got to get a coat of clear coat on them just to protect them a little better, and then they're totally finished. I don't have to mess with them at all anymore. And it's time to move on to the actual wood top with the wood plank. So I'll show you what I'm doing with that. Alright, so while that paint is drying, what I'm going to do is take the original tabletops, and I have them flipped upside down right here, and I'm going to slice 5 inches off of each edge. So I got my table saw set to 5 inches. The reason I'm using these edges is because it has the original mounting holes. So I can use the original hardware to hold the legs in place, which is actually really sturdy. And then the 5-inch strips will give me enough room to add 2 screws to every plank. So I have 10 screws on here that hold all the planks together, and it'll hold the legs in place. So it'll be a really cool, simple system. So I'll cut these down, and I'll show you kind of how it all goes together here in just a little bit. Alright, so now I have all my boards picked out. This set will be one tabletop. This set right here that's all stacked together will be the second tabletop. If you look at these boards, I mean, these things are gnarly looking. They have a ton of patina and just like gross stains from the bathroom, and I'm pretty sure it's not poop. These were like underneath the washer and dryer, and I guess it leaked at one point. So it's like water stains. The white stuff is like dry detergent and dryer lint embedded in it. And they just have like cool scratches and gouges and all that, so they're going to look really cool once I sand all that stuff off, and I kind of get rid of that orange finish and bring them back down to the raw pine color. And then what I'm going to do is, you can see they're not quite all the same length, so I'm going to chop them evenly so they're about 38.5 inches long. That way I can build a frame around it, and then in total it'll be about 40 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and chop them up, and I'll show you kind of what that looks like. Alright, so I just got done chopping everything down to size, made a mess on my sidewalk here as my garden gnomes are watching over me. But anyway, I got them all sliced down to the same length at 38.5 inches, and they're all about 3.5 inches wide. And I also, the side trim, I mentioned it, but I forgot to tell you that it's going to be 1.5 inches. And what it is it's actually going to be up on its side, and it's going to surround the whole thing. So that way, the tabletop from the side doesn't just look like, you know, 3/4 of an inch. It's going to look like the thickness of the trim, which is 1.5 inches. Plus 1.5 inches will add a 3/4 inch edge all the way around just to give it a nice, cool little look. So now I'm just going to sand them all down, get that gross finish off of them, and even round some of the edges here so that there's a little bit of a divot where they all meet just to give it a cool little look. And I'll show you what all that looks like when it's finished. Alright, so now I got done sanding. The boards are nice and smooth, good enough for some finishing wax later. I'm going to keep them just kind of the raw look. This is one of my favorite boards here. Looks like it has some kind of metal embedded in it. So that's going to be a really cool look. But that's one set. The other set, what I did was I laid them up on my table saw because I have a flat edge. So I'm basically just using it as a total, straight edge, plus the table itself is really flat. So then I lined everything up, as you can see, and then I actually drew a line from the edge 2 inches in. Then the little boards that I cut down for the mounting pieces, I'm lining them up to that line and leaving about a 1/4 inch on each edge like that, okay? Then I clamped it in, as you can see over here, and then I drew a line, just using my square, and I drew a line that's center to all the planks, like you can see here, okay? Then I measured 1 1/4 inches in, pre-drilled, put screws in, and it should be really, really strong, and then I can just mount the leg on here with the stock hardware. And it may be a little bit overkill, but it should be a really strong table that's very stable and flat and level and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'll go ahead and finish this up, and then I'll show you, I actually have to make a tweak to this, so let me show you that to you next.